serious about this. He points out that danger surrounds them everywhere, and besides, he can't protect them forever. A heavy silence fills the room again before Lee finally looks away and exhales deeply. He tells him that he will likely regret his decision after he truly understands it. However, before his junior year, if he ever wants to change his mind, he can always reach out. Jang asks him not to get involved in those crooked paths in the future. Hearing this, Lee starts walking towards the door. As he is about to leave, Jang suddenly calls out to him, asking him to wait. Lee turns back and questions what else he wants. Jang then recalls something he has recently read in the information shared by Yao Yao. It states that special individuals can use all of their powers before death to prevent themselves from turning into something else. He then asks him if it is still possible for someone to transform, even after exhausting all their strength. Lai remains silent for a moment before finally confirming that such a situation can indeed occur, especially if a person possesses certain abilities or if there are external interferences. Lee asks him why he is bringing this up, to which he simply scratches his head and says that he was just curious. As Lee puts on his shoes near the exit, he reminds Jiang that if he chooses martial arts, he will eventually have to face those things. He advises him to rest early and stop fighting. Jiang agrees, saying he will listen. Before stepping out, Lee informs him that the martial arts test this year is early and will start after the Lunar New Year. Jiang asks if it will really happen so soon. Lai confirms it and tells him to prepare before finally leaving the room. We go back to the white-haired girl as she receives a notification on her phone. It informs her that the blogger she is following has uploaded a new video. Excited, she grabs her phone to check out the video. However, she also notices multiple comments from users who dismiss the video as another deception. Many believe that the Night Patrol uses real knives and weapons to eliminate the monsters, whereas the blogger merely relies on video editing to gain popularity. Another guy is mad that Yu has started doing brand deals. There are a total of 1847 comments, with 2.1 million likes on the video. Growing frustrated, the girl says that the number of haters has significantly increased lately. She believes they are simply jealous of Yu's skills. Annoyed by their skepticism, she hastily types an angry comment, accusing them of not understanding anything and calling them all envious. While typing the comment, she pauses for a bit and stares silently at the screen. She hopes that he is not actually a scammer and prays that it is not an apology video. As she taps on the video, a text shows up on the screen reading, "If you don't hunt, you will die." Bro actually got a banger intro for his video. This is a POV video that starts at the edge of a building. The scene amazes the girl. It feels so immersive that she thinks she is actually with him inside the video. A bright flash appears, and he suddenly jumps off the building. The girl fails to understand what is happening and screams in fear. Tears well up in her eyes as she quickly opens them again, looking around with confusion. Holding both hands out in front of her, she stares at him with uncertainty. He turns slightly, and she gazes at his face with admiration, wondering if these are truly the powers of a superhuman. He takes the full force of the attack directly on his stomach, spreading his arms as a bright flash lights up everything around him. A monster suddenly appears in front of him. Looking at the monster from this close, she can tell that it is truly extraordinary. Yu uses his spiderwebs to get away from the monster. Meanwhile, the girl continues watching as she thinks that it all looks too cool. Yu kicks the monster in the face with full force and follows up with several more strikes. The girl clenches her fists, thinking that this is thrilling. She wonders if she is witnessing a true battle between extraordinary abilities and alien species. Everything about it feels real, and she is certain that such events cannot be faked. Our boy jumps from the rooftop directly toward the monster, locking eyes with it. In that instant, he realizes that he truly is a fighter from the northern capital. A loud crash follows and the monster is completely destroyed. The green liquid left behind drips from Yu's hands. He stops beside the defeated creature and uses his Shadow Devour skill. The girl stands silently behind him, watching everything unfold. She wonders if he has really absorbed another being, and wonders if his spiderweb ability came from absorbing the spider he previously fought. She questions if he will gain new abilities from this. Back at home, Jung throws his clothes into the laundry basket and stands in front of a mirror. Looking at the wound on his face, he mutters that the pain is quite intense. He wraps a bandage around his torso and admits to himself that the alien species in this area are very strong. If they had not been injured, he might not have survived. Suddenly, his phone vibrates with a notification. He turns to look and sees another video from the blogger Didao, who tried exposing him earlier. The man greets his viewers and announces that today's video will once again feature Yu. He claims that this time, everything looked extremely realistic, but he was still able to identify his modifications. As he plays the video, he points out that the monster is seriously injured and explains that in this state, they become incredibly weak. This means that anyone with energy could have defeated the monster. He questions why Yu would go after such an easy target if he is truly extraordinary. Jiang watches the screen in silence before deciding to close the video and turn off his phone. He finds that guy annoying and repulsive. Lying back on the couch, he thinks about his current strength and realizes that it is still not enough to deal with first-grade alien species. His eyes suddenly open with determination as he decides to become stronger, so strong that no one will ever dare to doubt him again. Clenching his hand into a fist, he prepares himself for what lies ahead. The system displays his current characteristics, indicating that his shadow points remains at full capacity with 32 out of 32 points. He also has new abilities such as Shadow Weave, which he got from the spider, and Shadow Claw, which he got from the last monster he killed. The system rating shows that he looks strong but is actually weak. This makes him mad, and he says that it is the system's abilities that are weak. He claims that he is now 100 times stronger than his girlfriend and can even take 50 of his uncles. Despite this, he knows it is not enough. He has gained some new skills in his previous battles. Jiang thought that shadow points were like experience points, but they are more similar to energy points. All of his abilities consume shadow points based on their level. Moreover, his shadow form also consumes shadow points based on his environment. If he uses that ability in the shadow world, it won't consume any points, however it will consume a small amount of points if he uses it in the real world but at night. If he uses the ability during daylight, it will consume a huge amount of shadow points. He uses the shadow points to recover his body and thinks about the incoming marital exam. He guesses that most of the people giving these tests will be equal to 1 to 3 shadow points of what he possesses. This means that even if he doesn't get stronger, he still has enough strength to defeat them. He knows that his continuous boasting is gaining a lot of attraction, but he doesn't want to stay humble. Instead, he decides to showcase his power in the exam. He starts laughing, saying that his uncle is supporting him, so he has nothing to fear. The guy living on the floor underneath looks at him and thinks that he has gone mad. The next day, he sits in a mall looking like he is about to pass out. His girlfriend told him that it would only take 1 hour, but she has been shopping since morning. He leans on his friend and says that he will die if he continues to waste his days like this. His friend pushes him away and asks him not to say stuff like this at the start of the new year since it might bring bad luck. Jiang looks back at him and says that he is not joking. If he doesn't hunt, he will actually die. This makes his friend a bit concerned, and he asks him what he means. Jiang suddenly looks back at his girlfriend and says that it was nothing. The four of them decide to go to a restaurant to eat something. Jiang assures them that he will choose a restaurant that caters to everyone's preferences. After some time, they find themselves in a cafe with a menu filled with dishes like garlic oysters, steamed oysters, and fried onions. The girls look at it in confusion, while Yao Yao questions whether this is really the cafe that caters to everyone's preferences. The green-haired girl confirms it, but comments that the place seems more suited for male students. Zhang glances at the menu and informs the waiter that he has recently been injured and needs to recover lost energy. He orders toast, soy sauce, fried rice, and egg soup. The waiter takes note of his order and reassures him that it is a great choice. Yao Yao, with a smirk, expresses her surprise at his selection, expecting something more unique. Zhang admits that the dishes are quite ordinary, and then requests larger and fresher oysters. The waiter is shocked after hearing this and stares at him in disbelief. After some time, the waiter brings their food and wishes them an enjoyable meal. Jiang offers the food to his girlfriend, telling her that there is no need to be hungry, but she refuses it. At that moment, a message arrives on her phone, announcing that the martial arts exam has been rescheduled. The test date has been moved up, and the test will gradually begin on the 17th of February. The tests will likely end on the 20th of the same month, and the specialized training camp will open on the 25th of the same month. Her friend reacts with surprise and asks if this is really true since the martial arts exam seems mandatory. The other friend tells them that they will have to take the qualifications test after the end of the year days, which makes it more complicated and annoying. Zhang reassures them, casually patting one of them on the shoulder and remarking that their qualifications are not high enough to worry about it. The friend sarcastically thanks him for the comment. He then shares a story from his past, recalling how he was chased by a specter from the alien species when he was just 7 years old. By the time the night patrol arrived and defeated the creature, he had fallen ill and suffered many psychological disturbances as a result. With a grin, Zhang confidently declares that he could have easily fought off that member of the alien species if he was in his place. My man turned into Pinocchio. Yao Yao, unimpressed, asks him if he really thinks everyone is stupid like him. She points out that not everyone shares his confidence. Most people adopt the mentality of escape. She says that it is a good thing since the effects of the events caused by the alien species remain engraved in their hearts. All of them fall silent for a few seconds. Their table remains full of uneaten food as Zhang and Yao Yao exchange glances. Eventually, he spreads his arms and tells them that there is no need to be so serious and they should offer a toast. Before he can complete his gesture, a sudden, deafening noise erupts, causing everyone in the cafe to jump from their seats in fear. Turning toward the source of the disturbance, Yao Yao recognizes the sound as a pollution siren. The alarm means that the alien species has invaded the commercial center. Panic spreads quickly, leaving many people frozen in terror. a man shouts for everyone to evacuate, and chaos ensues as the crowd rushes toward the exits. Desperate voices beg those ahead to move faster, while others, overwhelmed with fear, cry out that the danger is already too close. Amidst the panic, only Jiang, Yao Yao, and their friends remain still, watching the unfolding situation. The guy looks at the people in worry as they try to push each other to get out. The green-haired girl looks at her phone for an update and asks them what they should do. Yao Yao, after a brief moment of thought, advises everyone to stay calm and move toward the exit in an orderly manner. Before they can move, they hear Zhang's voice telling them to move out of the way. Before she can understand, Zhang suddenly punches the wall, creating a massive hole. The unexpected action leaves everyone around them stunned, especially Yao Yao, who stands there and watches it in shock. Zhang waves at her and asks why she is still standing there. They need to run. Without hesitation, the group rushes toward the new exit, hastily created by his own hands. Moving carefully, he scans the surroundings when he spots someone running in the opposite direction. The person shouts an alarm, insisting that someone else is there, before disappearing into the crowd. A bright red glow flickers, setting off a wave of unease. Zhang immediately realizes the monster is nearby. With so many people around, turning into his shadow form here would expose everything. Without thinking, he grabs Yao Yao's hand, pulling her along. Panic spreads through the crowd, and gasps of fear fill the air as people struggle to catch their breath. A voice yells for them to run, but Yao Yao hesitates, questioning how the alien species were able to breach the commercial center as the defense forces were supposed to be close by. Zhang shakes his head, saying it's too late to think about that now, they just have to escape. He says that they are lucky as the people were able to evacuate, otherwise they could have had a major massacre inside the commercial center. Pointing to the side, he signals the way out. As the group reaches the exit, he suddenly stops. With a panicked expression, he tells everyone to hold on to him tightly as the place is about to collapse. Before anyone can react, the entire place crumbles and they all scream in terror. They grasp onto each other, but it's too late. Together they all fall down. Zhang struggles to his feet, wincing from the pain. Looking around, he checks on the others. Yao Yao, rubbing her chin, assures him they're mostly fine, just some scratches. They suddenly hear the voice of the other friend who screams in pain as he thinks his leg is broken. They notice him sitting in the distance with a heavy concrete block pinning his leg. Zhang hurries over, gripping an iron rod jutting from the rubble. He reassures his injured friend, promising to help. With a determined effort, he lifts the slab, freeing the trapped leg. The injured one groans, but the weight is gone. Yao Yao hands him some pills, instructing him to take them as they should ease the pain. He swallows them quickly, still shaken, and glances around in fear. The guy starts sweating and asks them where they are. He feels like he is in a dark place. Yao Yu is surprised hearing this and says that she has never seen such a situation. Kneeling down, Zhang places a palm against the ground. He knows that this is the floor of the commercial center and guesses that they are in the basement. However, his expression suddenly changes. Something feels wrong. As dark energy swirls around his hand, he recognizes something. This sensation, it's too familiar. His breath catches. He thinks to himself, if they have all been pulled into the shadow layer. All around them, voices of distress fill the air. People cry out, some injured, others simply terrified. A small girl clings to her father while crying. The father soothes her, assuring her that the night patrol will come to their rescue. Zhang gets worried looking at all this. He knows that this is bad since too many people are trapped inside the shadow layer. There is no way to move within the shadow layer, which means the night patrol will take longer to arrive. If they stay here for a long time, even if they aren't attacked by the alien species, the pollution here can kill them. He knows that he has to get everyone out of here quickly. Thinking fast, he turns to Yao Yao and asks if she is wearing the watch given to her by her dad. Her eyes widen as she looks at the watch and she tells him that she forgot about it. The entire group gets a new ray of hope and they all start smiling. Pressing a button, she explains that the device can send a distress signal, which will alert the Night Patrol Division. The green-haired girl gets a bit too excited and says that Yao Yao has saved them with her intelligence. Even as the others celebrate, Zhang remains deep in thought. He isn't sure if the signal will speed up the rescue. Still, the watch should fend off the pollution for a while. The alien species may attack them at any moment now, so he can't lower his guard. Just as he prepares to activate his shadow abilities, the floor shakes violently. A new wave of terror surges through everyone as monstrous figures emerge from the darkness. Zhang looks at the creatures as he realizes that they have finally arrived. The shaking gets more tense and his friends start to scream in panic. He, on the other hand, remains calm and stares directly at the aliens with a smirk. After the smoke clears, Yao Yao starts coughing. She calls out for her friends, asking them where they are. The green-haired friend quickly moves to her side, steadying her shoulders, reassuring her that she's here. Through the swirling smoke, the other friend calls out to them and asks them where they are. Yao Yao continues searching for Zhang and calls out his name. Suddenly her friend gasps and points to a huge crack in the ground. Yao Yao's heart pounds as she asks her if he really fell down there. Destruction surrounds them, debris scattered in every direction. The white-haired girl, struggling to move, crawls out from beneath the rubble. Sitting on the ground, she looks around in confusion, trying to recall what happened. As she touches her head, the memories come rushing back. She had gone out shopping with Xiaoya when the alarm suddenly sounded, causing everyone to panic and run. Turning side to side, she desperately calls out for her friend. Her hand unexpectedly bumps into something. When she looks, her breath catches. Xiaoya's mutilated body lies beside her. A tremor runs through her and tears well up in her eyes. She stammers, struggling to process the sight, unable to believe what she is seeing. At that moment, a dark figure appears behind her. A claw swings toward her, and as she turns, realization strikes. This is how she dies. The thought of facing death in such a way never crossed her mind. She once believed such terrifying moments belonged only in films. She thinks to herself that if she was a movie heroine, the hero would rush to save her, or at least someone would try to help her. However, that is impossible since this is reality and no one is coming to save her. In the real world, there are no heroes. Bracing herself for the inevitable, she closes her eyes. Blood splatters onto the stone ground. When she opens her eyes, she sees a dark silhouette standing before her. Breathing heavily, she wipes away her tears and looks up in shock. It is Jiang, the same guy she saw in the YouTube videos. He firmly grips the monster's claw with one hand, holding it back with ease. My man trying to riz her up. Hope flickers in her eyes as she wonders if he is a hero. Without hesitation, he throws the monster into the abyss. As she observes him more closely, she recognizes him. It is really him. A system notification appears, indicating that Shadow Claw, when combined with the assassin's ability, increases attack lethality. Jiang activates the skill and swiftly leaps at the monster. With a powerful strike, he sends it flying, but the creature quickly stabilizes itself, digging its claws into the ground to halt its momentum. It breathes heavily with its eyes locked onto him. The girl, unable to contain her excitement, claps her hands, overcome with enthusiasm. The whole scene feels surreal, as if she is dreaming. She stutters as she mentions that he is the assassin. Zhongyu notices her excitement, and before he can react, she rushes to him, snapping photos and eagerly grabbing his hand. She expresses her admiration, telling him how she has watched all his videos and finds him incredibly impressive. However, he calls her a little girl and tells her that her stockings and dress are all torn apart. Realizing this, she hesitates before stepping back, suddenly self-conscious. She asks if her appearance bothers him. He quickly reassures her that it is nothing, but she playfully insists that if he dislikes it, she can always go home and change into something better. Our boy gets a bit carried away and asks her if the dress will be made of silk. The girl tells him not to focus on the silk as she will also bring him some spicy chicken. Meanwhile, the monster, watching their exchange, grows impatient, letting out a menacing growl. Noticing this, Zhang's expression turns serious. He tells her that they can discuss the details of the dress later. With a sudden shift in demeanor, he leaps forward, declaring that the hunt has begun. The monster, looking around in confusion, struggles to track his movements. Then, without warning, something strikes the back of its head. Zhang lands nearby, gripping a weighted rope he just used to attack. The monster lunges at him, but he swiftly dodges and lands gracefully on the ground. Behind him, the creature lets out a frustrated roar. Assessing the situation, Zhang realizes that he is still lacking in strength and precision, otherwise he would have killed the alien in a single strike. Without hesitation, he dashes forward, determined to strike again. As he prepares to counter the next attack, he suddenly stops as he gets attacked by two other monsters. He manages to block the attack and steps back. The monsters laugh as they outnumber him. Looking at the monsters, he realizes that it might be a bit difficult to deal with them this time. The white-haired girl, still filming, cheerfully wishes him luck and promises that if he wins, she will show him something cool. Hearing this, Jiang's face flushes with excitement and he turns red. He quickly regains focus, pushing forward with renewed determination, insisting that everything is for their sake. He quickly jumps up in the air to dodge the attack of one of the monsters. However, as he is still in the air, another monster tries attacking him. Since his body is still suspended, he knows he can't dodge the attack. Thinking fast, he swings his claw, releasing a blue rope that wraps around the creature's limb. Using the momentum, he slashes, delivering a fatal hit. The monster falls, lifeless. Turning to the remaining monster, Zhang smirks. He is confident that they will not succeed in killing him. However, before he can do anything, another monster sneaks up on him from behind and strikes him in the shoulder, which causes him to bleed. Blood seeps from the wound, and he quickly jumps back, clutching it in shock. He can't believe that the monsters have the intelligence to cooperate with each other. While two of the monsters were busy trying to restrain him, the other one was focused on attacking. He knows that he can't win if they continue fighting like this. He needs to find a way to take out one of them first. Thinking this, he fires at one of the monsters, but it swiftly dodges by tilting its head. He frowns, wondering if it saw the attack coming. Before he can react, all three monsters charge at him at once, surrounding him from all sides. He tries to evade their blows, but they keep him from retreating into the shadows. His health drops to 45% as he continues getting hit. Realizing he can't keep fighting like this, he pushes forward while deflecting attacks. He knows he must lure them away. Just as he moves, one of them strikes his back, and his health plummets to 35%. Determined, he activates the mark, which is one of his skills that forces the target into fear for a few seconds. Thanks to his last video, his bad reputation grew, which extended the time of this ability to 3 seconds. The timer starts and the monsters are feared. Zhang takes advantage of this and starts eliminating one of them. He approaches the monster from behind and finishes it off. The timer finally reaches 3 seconds, but he has already finished the job. As he stands above the fallen corpse, the system informs him that the hunt was a success. As a reward, his shadow form grows stronger, reducing the energy needed for his abilities. In the shadow layer, his recovery and energy absorption improves. He immediately heals his deep wound and looks at his clawed hands. He then turns towards the other monsters and says that it's their turn now. The 2 remaining monsters stare at him in fear. His health climbs back to 55%, and dark energy radiates from him. He taunts them, asking why they are afraid of coming near him when they were just trying to kill him a few moments ago. If they won't attack, he will. Just as he moves, bright rays of light suddenly appear. He halts, confused. Where is this light coming from in the shadow layer? Blue sparks flicker around him, and a strange pull urges him toward the light. The others notice it too and let out loud growls. At that moment, the night patrol arrives, led by Commander Song Ching-an. In his hand, he holds the eternal flame, which is used to disperse shadows and can serve as a good source of illumination. Extending his hand, he releases a stream of green energy and silently points at Jiang. Jiang, slightly uneasy, asks what's going on. He shouts at them, trying to assure them that he is on their side. A monster lunges at Song Ching-an, but without looking, he sends the green blast upward, killing it instantly. Jiang watches in shock as he realizes that the guy killed the monster in a single strike. He wonders if this is the true strength of the night patrol. He knows that if the attack he aimed at him a few moments ago hit his body, it would have killed him instantly. He walks up to one of the squad members and smirks, telling them that they have come late as the battle is about to end. The man in dark glasses apologizes for the delay and asks who he is. Jiang brushes it off, saying it doesn't matter who he is. He points at a white-haired girl and tells them that they should take care of her as she is injured. The girl looks at him in shock as she reminds him that he was supposed to send her back home. He turns to her with a salute and says that he was just joking. As a member of the Night Guard, duty always comes first for him. Just before fading into the shadows, he adds that he's leaving her in their care. The girl calls him by his online name and urges him to stop, but he's already gone. Ching-an asks one of his guys if they have anyone by that name on record. The man explains that Yu is well known on a certain platform. He wields shadow abilities but isn't particularly strong, likely just a level 1. Ching-an doesn't believe this. He says that he has a flame in his hand and asks the guy if there can be any shadows nearby. Moreover, he vanished in front of everyone, which is not something someone at level 1 can do. Looking down at the sobbing girl, he decides to send her back for now. After that, they will start investigating Yu properly. Meanwhile, Yao Yao, making her way through the battlefield, anxiously calls out for Jiang. She shines a light from her watch, stammering as she hopes that nothing bad has happened to him. Suddenly, his voice breaks the silence as he calls out to her from behind. She turns, startled, and sees him buried under a pile of stones. He weakly calls for help, saying that he can feel the tightness in his chest, and that he can't breathe. Rushing over, she reassures him, telling him to hold on while she removes the debris. As she reaches for him, he grabs her hand and tells her that he can't hold on any longer, so she should just pull him directly. She asks him how she can safely pull him out with this much pressure from the rocks. However, as she uses a bit of effort, Jiang comes out of the rubble. She looks at him in silence as she realizes that something is not right. She points towards the rubble and asks him if this stone isn't the one holding him. Jiang laughs and tells her that he could have gotten out by himself, but maybe he was just afraid that his body wouldn't move. Her eyes narrow as she examines his back. There's a deep wound. She asks him if it was also caused by the stone. He responds again, saying that he doesn't know, though in his mind, he knows that the stone didn't do anything and the wound was left by the monster. He asks her about their friends. She then explains with a smile that the rescue was carried out by the night patrol, and because of that, Feng Xiaoxiao and Liu Yuqiang were taken away. He asks for clarification, wondering if she has stayed behind just to find him. Yao Yao, feeling embarrassed, turns away and crosses her arms before replying. She insists that if something were to happen to him, she wouldn't be able to face his uncle. Her words leave him speechless, and tears begin to form in his eyes. Overcome with emotion, he suddenly hugs her. Yao Yao is completely taken aback by his reaction, but she quickly starts hitting him, demanding that he let her go. However, Zhang Yu continues holding on. He tells her that he just saw many strange creatures carrying large knives and cutting everywhere. He says that he is scared and needs to hug her to feel safe, but she remains frustrated and asks him to get away. Suddenly, the two of them hear a voice drawing their attention. A green-haired girl, holding a lantern, approaches and asks them if they are okay since she heard a scream. Yao Yao immediately shoves Zhang away and assures her that everything is fine. He quickly agrees, backing up her claim. The girl expresses relief and asks them to follow her as she will lead them out of there. Just as they are about to leave, Zhang suddenly cries out, Yo Yao, now concerned, asks what happened. He wipes away his tears and reassures her that it's nothing. At that moment, a realization dawns on him. He had completely forgotten to absorb the shadow points from the creatures he had defeated. The next morning, inside the Night Patrol headquarters, Zhang is being interrogated. He sits in the interrogation room with a girl named Li Yuan, who is an officer of the Night Patrol. He tells her that his name is Jiang and he is 18 years old. The entire conversation is being recorded. The girl then asks him if he started his school this year, and he confirms it. She tells him that the recent incident has affected him quite a lot. According to standard procedure, individuals involved in the incident must receive psychological treatment and medication from a Night Patrol office, and the effects of this treatment will last for a month. She looks at him and explains that during this period, if the military exam is conducted, the evaluation grade for the qualification test will decrease significantly, passing by rows of military uniforms, weapons, and holograms. She reminds him to stay close. Zhang, eager to take in his surroundings, acknowledges her instructions. He wonders if this unusual-looking place is their headquarters. As they walk, two military personnel pass by. One of them, a green-haired young man, questions whether Jiang is part of the Night Patrol. The other soldier confirms that multiple background checks have been conducted, and he has no known records in their system. Jiang overhears their conversation, his eyes widening in shock. Yuan, noticing his reaction, asks if something is wrong. He hesitates before brushing it off, explaining that it's his first time in the building, and he feels a little uneasy. Inside, he is getting a bit worried since the Night Patrol has started investigating him. Upon reaching the door, Yuan informs him that he should wait and rest while she goes to look for Li Shengguang. Once inside the room, Zhang looks around in surprise. Yao Yao and Feng Xiaoxiao are already there. It seems like Yao Yao is still talking to the white-haired girl. She stands up from her seat and asks her if she really met the assassin. The white-haired girl proudly confirms that she did and even credits him for saving her. Zhang, observing the white-haired girl, wonders why she is there as well. Meanwhile, Yao Yao quickly turns to him, gestures toward the chair next to hers, and urges him to sit. Once he does, she turns her attention back to the white-haired girl and asks her what happened after she met you. She describes how she saw him fight 10 monsters at once. He was calm and serious, and in 1 second when the shadow sword appeared, he decapitated all the strange monsters. She continues her story and mentions that when he was fighting the strange creatures and couldn't hold on anymore, members of the Night Patrol department arrived. However, he disappeared into the shadows, leaving behind a glorious performance of his actions. Zhang listens to her story and thinks she is exaggerating too much, as most of those things didn't even happen. Noticing her stockings, he smirks and decides to forgive her for her choice. Yao Yao, after listening thoughtfully, asks who this person is. She mentions that he doesn't seem like a member of the Night Patrol. The girl points out that he seems like a student, just like them. Curious, she asks where this information comes from. The white-haired girl, twirling a strand of her hair, explains that his words, actions, and intuition all suggest it. Most importantly, she adds, he has a particular fondness for a girl's socks which are transparent and snug. She then points at Zhang and says that he is exactly like him. Zhang, surprised, tries to clarify, but before he can, Yao Yao suddenly grabs him by the hair and raises her fist, telling him that his character hasn't changed one bit. He stutters in response and tries to stand up when Lu suddenly rushes into the room. Seeing her father, she asks in confusion what's going on. Breathing heavily, he asks if she's okay and if it's true that she entered the shadow layer. Yao Yao pinches Zhang's cheeks and tells him that everything is fine and nothing has happened to them. She assures him that Zhang is fine too, but his body is itching a bit. Her father nods with a smile and, since everyone is safe, tells them to follow him. A while later, they are sitting in a small office. Yao Yao asks him if the situation is serious this time. He confirms it and says that this is the first time in history that an entire store has fallen into the shadow layer. The number of victims is still being counted, but thankfully, no one was hurt. Due to this incident, he informs them that their test will be conducted earlier than planned. As he speaks, he reaches for a cigarette but stops when he sees Lu Yao Yao's disapproving look. He starts explaining to them the test and mentions that it is divided into 2 stages. The first stage is the ability test and the second stage is the willpower test. He puts his cigarette back on the table and says that the ability test is also called the initial awakening test, where students are exposed to contamination to awaken their abilities. This test is relatively low risk as it determines students' specialties based on the characteristics of their abilities. After that, there's the willpower qualification test, where their willpower and mental strength will determine their success or failure. He leans forward with a serious expression and reveals that the final test is what determines if they are extraordinary or not. Zhang asks him if this means that willpower is the key to the second test. The stronger someone's willpower, the more chances of them being successful. Lu's father shakes his head and clarifies that it's not that simple. Some people can endure extreme pain, like losing an arm, yet their qualifications remain average. Others, who seem carefree or foolish, sometimes show the greatest potential. Willpower isn't just measured solely by endurance, it also encompasses believing in goodness, resisting evil, and adapting to pollution. In short, it's a complex matter. Jiang raises his hand, asking if specific thoughts can affect willpower. Lu's father, puzzled, asks why he's suddenly curious. Yao Yao, irritated, gives an example. What if someone constantly thinks about a girl's legs? Jiang, embarrassed, realizes she is talking about him. Lu's father, ignoring the joke, explains that it only has a slight effect on willpower. The thoughts of a person relating to integrity don't have a significant positive impact on positive outcomes. On the other hand, if someone has negative thoughts and their heart is steeped in evil, the test results will be nothing but bad. Jiang, suddenly worried, asks why that is. Lu's father sternly replies that evil thoughts attract evil. Negative emotions contribute to pollution, and if left unchecked for too long, the corruption becomes overwhelming. If they have negativity in their hearts, they must find a way to release it. Suppressing them within will only lead to confusion, and there is nothing worse than that. Zhang thinks seriously about this for a moment, and wonders if having negative feelings is a normal thing. He soon realizes that he needs to go to the club so he can clear his dirty mind. Lu Yaoyao watches him silently. Meanwhile, Lu's father gets up from the table and tells them that they need to go back and that someone else will come to take them for the test later. As he reaches the door, he casually mentions to Jiang that his uncle won't be back anytime soon as he has been assigned a task. He mentions that he has already signed all the necessary documents for him. Jiang smiles and apologizes for the trouble, but Lu's father reassures him that there's no need to worry. They should just go with the flow. Zhang gives him a salute and agrees. Yao Yao, putting on a serious expression, also says she understands. Later, the white-haired girl greets them with a smile, asking if they're back. As they sit at a round table, Yao Yao asks where the others are. The girl points to the side, explaining that they went to complete the formal procedures with their families. When asked why she didn't leave too, she explains that her parents are busy with business. Just a few days ago, they left the city and haven't returned yet. She just had a call with them a little while ago and they managed to complete the procedures remotely. Suddenly, Yuqian's voice fills the room as he announces that everyone is present. The others turn to see him in a wheelchair with a splint on his leg, carried by Xiao Xiao. Holding a glass of coffee in one hand, he excitedly mentions how incredible it is that they sprayed something on his leg and all the pain went away. Zhang approaches him and points out that he is injured, questioning whether he truly intends to take the test. Yao Yao also asks if anything is bothering him. However, he reassures them that there is no need to worry, as he has been informed that his injury will not affect the results. Xiao Xiao, with a sly smile, pats him on the shoulder and jokes that despite his confident demeanor, he was crying in the corner just moments ago. Yu Qian quickly protests, insisting that he was not crying. At that moment, the door opens again, and a group of young people enters with sorrowful expressions. The blonde man at the front even wipes away his tears. Curious about their sadness, Zhang asks why they look so downcast. Yao Yao, looking at them with sympathy, remarks that they simply want to live a peaceful life, but after the test, significant changes are likely to occur. Yen steps forward and, after confirming that everyone is gathered, announces that it is time to begin. She explains that the test is divided into two parts: ability testing and willpower assessment. The ability test evaluates their potential for development, destructive power, and capacity to utilize their skills. Abilities are categorized into 4 levels: low, medium, high, and advanced. The willpower test, on the other hand, measures their resistance to external influences, with results indicated by 6 different colors: white, green, blue, purple, red, and orange. In previous years, individuals with level 1 abilities were not required to take the test, but this time, participation is mandatory for everyone. Their potential to become special is assessed at every stage of their growth. She emphasizes that with strong willpower, even if the ability is weak, there might be a chance of acceptance. However, if one's willpower is weaker than their abilities and their qualifications are not in line with their requirements, they will only be able to work in the civil service. With that, she shuts the folder with a decisive motion and instructs them to follow her outside. As all the applicants wait in the room, Jiang, standing by the glass, notices a man in the next room standing beside a covered object. Suddenly, a loud voice from the speakers calls Xiao Xiao and instructs her to step forward into the room. Startled, she responds hesitantly before stepping forward. As the doors open, the voice reassures her that there is nothing to worry about. She looks back at her friends with a worried expression and decides to move forward, saying that she is ready. As she enters the room, she meets the man standing next to that strange object. Those in the waiting area press against the glass, watching closely. Without warning, the man pulls away the cloth, revealing a massive, sparkling diamond. He then signals for the test to begin. The light above the entrance switches from green to red, and the room darkens. Yuqian wonders what they are doing and asks if it is really necessary for them to turn off the lights for the test. Yao Yao, also observing carefully, speculates that this is a test of willpower. Meanwhile, Zhang stares in silence as he thinks to himself how familiar he has gotten with the darkness. He has been spending a lot of time in the shadow layer. In the dimly lit room, Xiao Xiao stands still, and Yu, watching from the outside, notices something unusual. There is a stone on her foot, and it seems to glow. It seems like she is facing some intense resistance, and wonders if the glowing stone is doing that. Moments later, the bright light suddenly returns, causing everyone to squint. As Xiao Xiao leaves the room, Yao Yo rushes over to her, eager to hear about her experience. Yu Qian also asks if she has completed the test. However, she shakes her head, explaining that she lacks the necessary willpower. Despite years of training, she has never managed to improve in this area. Yu Qian points at her and expresses his disbelief and questions how this is possible. He didn't know that she wanted to become special and had put in so much effort. She admits that she tried, but nothing worked. Just then, another announcement calls for him to take the test. Instantly, his expression changes to one of concern. As he makes his way to the door, he keeps repeating to himself that he does not want to be special and wishes for this not to happen. Watching him leave, Xiao Xiao remarks that he has nothing to worry about since he won't pass the test anyway. After some time, the red light outside the room turns green. Yu Qian reappears looking stunned. He mutters in disbelief that he has actually passed. Xiao Xiao, shocked by the revelation, reacts with surprise. They sit down next to each other, and Xiao Xiao, still upset, repeats how much she wanted to pass but failed. Yu Qian, on the other hand, had not wanted to take the test but has succeeded. Observing them, Yao Yao sighs in frustration and comments on how unexpected life can be. Meanwhile, the voice from the speakers calls Yao Yao's name, signaling her turn. Taking a deep breath, she turns to Jiang with a smile and says that she will see him later. As she steps into the testing area, she crosses her arms and focuses. Streams of red energy begin to radiate from her, and the stone on her foot emits a brilliant glow. Jiang, watching closely, notices something different. Her stone is turning red, while it is emitting a green light for his fat friend before her. He remembers that willpower is divided into specific colors from levels 1 to 6. His eyes widen in surprise as he realizes that red is level 5. The lamp above the doors turns green, signaling the completion of the test. As soon as she steps out, her friend anxiously asks if the test is over. Yao Yao, still keeping her arms crossed and looking down, confirms with a simple, yes. Standing nearby, Jiang laughs awkwardly and asks if she is exhausted. She struggles to catch her breath but only tells him that he will understand everything once he goes inside. Without hesitation, Jiang rushes toward her and embraces her, jokingly asking why she doesn't give him some motivation. She clenches her teeth, visibly irritated, and pushes him away, telling him to leave her alone. Just then, an announcement is made, calling Jiang the next participant. Excited, he runs toward the door, waves at her, and heads inside. Watching him go, she clenches her fists but still manages a small smile, wishing him good luck. He thanks her and walks inside. As soon as Jiang steps into the room, the lamp above the door turns red. A man approaches him, holding a piece of paper and asks for his name. Jiang confirms his identity, after which the man takes his application and hands him a small test tube with a blue lid. He then asks if Jiang has already awakened his abilities. Jiang nods in confirmation. The man instructs him to drink the liquid. However, as he looks up from the papers, his expression changes to one of surprise, and he questions again whether Jiang has really awakened his abilities. Jiang, having already consumed the liquid, tells him that he woke up naturally. The man, seemingly dismissing any further questions, points toward a stone and a blindfold, stating that they should just start the willpower test directly and instructs him to put it on. Soon, Jiang stands in the middle of the room with the blindfold on. He suddenly feels a presence as the man places both hands on his shoulders. The man reassures him to stay calm and let his instincts guide him. He explains that since Jiang's abilities have awakened, he will soon experience his consciousness separating from his body. There is nothing to fear, he just needs to move ahead. With that, the man pushes him forward, urging him to go. As Jiang steps forward, something feels off. He senses himself falling into an endless void. A blue shimmer surrounds him, and then, in an instant, he lands